Hey, I figured it out. If you have a child that's in Algebra 2 and above and just seems like they just can't get fractions, they can't figure out how to factor a polynomial or even know how to simplify a radical, I figured something out and I got the right tool for you. Listen up. So the root of the problem is not so much just the tactics of how they move things and how they manipulate. The root of the problem is they struggle with their multiplication tables. Now we gotta think, when we were back in school, we had to do the whole cadence of multiplication tables. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, remember those times? Yeah, that was all kinds of cray cray. But it's kind of like the things that we did to help remember our multiplication tables. Or if not, if you went to a Montessori school, they basically took beans and cups and they actually say, here is 20 beans. Show me how you can easily distribute those 20 beans into those cups. And they will figure out, hey, you can either have 4 cups with 5 beans in it, or you can have 5 cups with 4 beans in it. A lot of those hands-on tactics just went away. And a lot of people were starting to use that in the public schools. So if you're a parent, a student, a person that's going back to college and is taking those intermediate math classes, or a teacher of a middle or high school student, this is for you. My name is Audrey Codner, and I'm the founder of ACG Math Tutoring. I used to be a classroom teacher for 21 years, and then I finally decided that I needed to go. So, in order for my transition to go out, I wanted to do something that was going to help not only the small group of kids that I had in my class, but something at a larger magnitude. So now I'm teaching and tutoring people all throughout the United States and also internationally, Cairo, Egypt, and also Nairobi, Kenya. But even though I wanted to leave the classroom, I didn't want to leave teaching. And no matter what grade level, I always keep seeing this challenging part of people just not understanding multiplication. Like if you're trying to add two fractions together with different denominators, it always seems like it takes our students a long time to figure out what would be the perfect combination to help them to have the same common denominator. This is where I solved the problem. So it seemed like a lot of my students, when they were doing factoring problems, it seemed like it took like a good 5, sometimes 6 minutes for us just to do one problem. So let me give you an example. When we're doing like the AC method, and some people are going to be like, the what? Just work with me. So when we're doing the AC method, we do something called, all right, give me two numbers multiplied to gives me, let's say, negative 30. Two numbers that multiply together to give me negative 30, and the same two numbers add together to give me a negative 1. You think you got the answer? Right away, a lot of my students automatically go to 3 and 10 because that's how they were taught. 30 ends with 0, so it has to be something in multiples of 10. But that doesn't give me any combination when I add them together to give me that negative 1. So a lot of them will actually take their calculators and constantly, da 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 da. Is it this? Is it 2? Is it 3? You already told me about 10 times 3. Is it 3? No. So to keep our insanity, I finally just figured, like, let me see what the problem is. And each and every one of my students, when I first got them, right away I noticed that there was a problem with their multiplication tables. And I'm not badgering teachers, I'm not badgering parents like, oh, they didn't get into the multiplication. No, for some reason, it either wasn't really emphasized because a lot of classrooms nowadays have a group set of calculators. Figured that I had to do something that is appropriate, something that is portable, that you don't have to get batteries for or run all over the place to get completed. It was just something that was so simple. I can't believe that it worked. So then I was like, all right, let me try it on a couple of my tutoring students because those are the ones that I see. Once I gave them this tool, all of a sudden, for us spending 5 and 6 minutes to basically answer one question, automatically dropped to less than a minute. Are you curious what this is? It was so simple and so easy that I couldn't believe that this made a huge transformation in a lot of my students. And my students actually saw their grades increasing and their confidence building up all because of this one product. Let me tell you what it is. It is a factor sheet. I know. Are you completely blown away? You're like, ah, we've seen factor sheets before, girl. We don't need this. True. But if you notice, even if you go on TPT, you notice if anyone does a factor sheet, it always goes right up to 100. And then, of course, like sometimes the print's really small or the print's really big, or there's a lot of other jibber jabbing on there, and kids just really can't focus on it and they don't use it. Just like multiplication tables. A lot of our kids don't use multiplication tables because they don't know how to line things up. And sometimes they don't even know what they're looking for. But this is how I make the change. For me, mine actually doesn't stop at 100. I take it all the way to 200 because, especially with our advanced kids, they're going to see more 3-digit numbers than 2-digit numbers. So let me take you on a tour. As you can see, mine is a little bit different. So you notice that there's different colors. There's yellow, there's blue, and there's like some red digits as well. What's going on here? Well, if I come down, I have it indicated with a key. So my perfect squares are going to be my blue colors. So right now you're seeing it as a really vibrant blue. You're like, how are kids going to read that? Yeah, but when they print it out, I know it's going to be hard to see. When they print it out, it's a nicer blue that it's not so intense, but it's not so dark that they can't see it. So the blues are going to give you your perfect squares. The yellows are giving you your prime numbers. And a lot of kids really still don't understand that 1 is not a prime number. So when we go through all this, they can see it right away. They can identify the prime numbers. They can look at some of their perfect squares and square roots. But also, I have something really simple. So if we take a look at 72, so let's just say that we're trying to break down the square root of 72. So I'll go to 72 and then I get the list of all the factors. So when I look at all the factors here, I can kind of see like, all right, I'm looking for what's called that perfect prime combination. Red is like the best perfect prime combination. So the kids don't have to go guessing, okay, 72. So let me divide 72 by 1. Okay, it doesn't work. Oh, I know 72. That's 8 and 9. Oh, I can use 8 and 9. You could, but you could still have to break down the square root of 8. So with this, I highlight in red what are those perfect prime combinations. So then, boom, they can go right into square root of 32, square root of 2. I'm breaking down the square root of 32. Boom, I get my answer. So it's not even just for radicals. You can also do it for factoring out those quadratic formulas, or especially if they're trying to find the discriminant, so they can figure out, all right, am I going to have like 2 zeros? Am I going to have 1 0 that just kisses the x-axis? Or am I going to have one of those imaginary number complex solution pairs? By looking at this, they cut the time in half. Yes, they still have to figure out the numbers. Yes, the more exposure that they have for the chart, then they won't have to use it as often. Give it a try. So what I'm doing is a flash sale. I want tons of kids to have this in their possession. I know it's fourth quarter, but guess what? Better now than not at all. This might be something that can probably help a kid to do well on their final exam, or maybe that one last assessment that they have to take, and they can use it as a resource. It doesn't have to be like, oh, we're giving the kids the answers. Some of the people need more assistance, especially that special ed population, where we can really help even keel everything, and they can do the same assignments as everyone else, but with their proper modification. So if you're really interested in this, I am selling this for a quick flash sale. So maybe April the 19th, exactly 11:59 on April the 19th, I'm shutting these sales down. I can't even say it, like sea sail on seashore. All right. So I'm basically breaking this down. The cost of this is $3. That's it. Uno, dos, tres. $3. Because I'm not going to sell this for $20. Are you insane? It's a piece of paper that you copy on front and back. But the amount of information, you're helping them out. They don't have to borrow a calculator from the classroom in order to take it home so they can do assignments. It's just basically printing it out front and back. And if you want to print it on like a heavier sheet of paper, maybe put it on cardstock, laminate that bad boy, and you can have it for a long time. So if they try to doodle on it, you can just simply wipe. All right. So if that sounds great, just go ahead and click the link and then go ahead and make your purchase. And I will send you an email that has that PDF onto it. But now, wait. If you get into this flash sale to make it a little more of a thank you, I'm also going to give my $85 value Algebra Bootcamp. I'm going to add that into the link. If you want to do it, instead of paying $85, you will get it for $15. So this covers the properties of exponents, solving equations with distributive properties, the PEMDAS, remember order of operation, ratios and proportions, and two-step equations. These are basically the 5 most commonly missed things that a lot of my students get when I first received them. It just seemed like I just keep going over and over and over the same things. So what I did was I compiled all this into a program that basically gives you 5 instructional tips step by step, helpful hints to help them to remember why you should do this as opposed to that, guided practice, and at the end, they get a summative assessment, which will help them with some guided answers, which will help them, are they really hitting on those and do they understand that? So all that, usually valued at $85, I am actually giving it away with this for $15. Now you're saying, all right, Audrey, you're giving me all this stuff. I get to choose if I want to do the boot camp. Yes, you do. But I really want that chart. I'm like, okay, great. But as well as you sign up with this, you can also join my Facebook group. So this will be great for your students if you're a teacher, or it'll be great if you're a parent that has help, that needs some assistance, but not quite ready to really fully invest in online tutoring. As an online tutor, I get it. Times are getting tougher and tougher. So I really want to make sure that I'm giving as much support as I can as possible, because sometimes kids just need like 1 or 2 problems explained to them, maybe in a simpler term, and then they can just take it and run with the assignment. You can head over to my Facebook group, which is called ACG Math Tutoring, the group. I know it's very inventive. So this is just an inexpensive way to get your questions answered. And I'm covering everyone that is from middle school all the way up to my adults that are taking those intermediate math classes. So by using this chart, I saw dramatic changes, great improvement. And this is just something small and simple. And if you want a possession of it, just click the link in my bio. You make your payment. I'll send you the email with the attachment and then a little reminder of the Facebook group. So if you want to share that with some other people, go ahead and share it. I really want to see how I can help, especially with those Algebra 2 students, because I know 2 years ago we were in that pandemic. And during that pandemic, that gap is still there. Everyone thought it was going to show up last year. No, sir, no, ma'am. It's this year. Okay. And it's going to get even worse next year, because a lot of those basic skills, some of them were taught, some of them weren't, because every school and every classroom is not exactly the same. This is something that you want, please go support. Even if you don't have a kid, but you have neighbors, go ahead, send this link over to them or pay for it and you give it to them. It's $3, all right? So $3 to get access to the chart and also to get acceptance into my Facebook group. All right, if you don't want the boot camp, but if you want the boot camp, as soon as you click on it, everything's going to be sent to your email and you send it, you have fun with it, you do it. If you want more, just stay in touch. All right, so I'll see you soon. Make sure you stay awesome.